about sacrifice.
What's up, Leo? This is Hector. Today we have Anaya as our guest. Do you mind introducing yourself?
I'm a senior at Penn Manor High School. I'm planning on studying communications and cultural studies, and I've been a Atala Scholar for almost a year now.
Super cool. So today we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to be talking about sacrifice. But before that, just as a quick review, whenever we encounter something, we need to go in it with a strong mind. We need to be open to the new challenge. And then we're going to compete. We're going to try. We're going to give some effort. Inevitably, we're going to fail while we're doing that. And our actions while we're failing or succeeding are going to affect others. And then to really, really accomplish what you really, really want, you need to give up something, because you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect the same results. That is the definition of insanity. So you can't carry on with your bad habits and expect good ones to form. You got to get rid of them, right? You need to get rid of some people in your life. Sometimes you need to get rid of some habits and some things that you're doing. So what has been your biggest sacrifice that you've had to get rid of in the past?
Well, when I was 16 years old, my mom gave me the news that I was going to be having another little sister. And being 16, you kind of think that you're done having new siblings. So it was a shocker at first. I wasn't expecting it. And I realized that with my mom being a single mom, it was going to be time for me to step up and help take care of my siblings now. So I found myself giving up a lot of things that a normal teenager would do, like hanging out with friends and just normal things that a teenager would do. I was doing more mom-like things, and my friends kind of made fun of me sometimes, and they'll say like, "Oh, you're such a mom, Anaya," or I'll have to tell them, "Oh, I can't hang out. I have to watch my sister." And I think I'm sacrificing a lot I'm just so young to have to give up a lot of free time. But I know that the effort that I'm putting in with helping raising my sister is going to pay off in the future. I'm trying to be the best role model that I can for her. And I think that she's going to do great things, and I'm going to do great things right alongside her. So I think the time that I'm giving up for myself now to put into her and to put into her future is all going to be worth it. I'm learning how to be more responsible with time management, because I don't have that free time to spare, so I'm spending more time on my homework and making sure that I get things done on time. I have learned how to communicate my feelings better towards other people, because I'm interacting with someone who's a lot younger than me a lot, so it's easier for me to be patient. I've learned a lot of patience having two younger sisters.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, because you hear it all the time. The busiest people are the most productive. Somehow, some way, the busiest people find a way to do everything that they have to do, even though they're giving up so much. So that was really interesting. But how about you, Hector?
That is a very good question as well. And it's funny that in my mind, I always had this sort of thermometer, where it's not a thermometer, it's a measurement that I see. So I know I put my dreams and goals in one measurement cup, let's say in that way. And whatever size that is, in my mind, I always knew that there was another cup, another measurement cup of the same size, if not bigger, of sacrifice that I would have to make to actually get the dreams that were in the other cup. And if I wasn't doing it, imagine there was like a level. In my mind, I always knew that measurement going up and down, up and down. The days that I was really doing a lot and sacrificing the night, I knew that measurement was going up, just like a thermometer, which meant I was actually achieving the dream on the days that I didn't. So if I was going now for 2 nights in a row, for example, or if I just wasn't putting enough nights during that week to studying, especially when I was actually trying to get here in the US to get into college. So I was doing the whole application process by myself in Brazil. At night, after working with my dad during the whole day, very tired, I actually had rats going on my roof, making so much noise at night. And it made really hard, because during the day, my mom was working in the home, so it was very noisy inside as well. And during the night, the rats were in the roof. So I never actually had like a very quiet time. So I just had to sacrifice even that peace of mind for something that I really wanted. And I think it ties back to the mission. And I asked myself, why was I doing? Why did I do that sacrifice? Why does Anaya do all her sacrifices? Because she probably knows her why. She has a mission. She knows she has a goal or two that she's really driven towards. And same for me, same for you, Leo, same for everyone that actually accomplishes things through making sacrifices. You have to know your why so much, and you have to believe in it so much that you actually accomplish it, because sometimes it's really hard. So the sacrifices, it's almost like if you don't have that why, something to grasp to, you're just gonna give up. If it's not bigger than you, you're gonna give up. It has to be bigger than you. It has to be something that it's not that easy that you give up. And I think everyone should ask this question, right? What's gonna be your biggest sacrifice, or what was it already, and use that as a motivation. So for you, Leo, I want to learn for you as well. What was your biggest sacrifice?
Honestly, for me, it was my ego. At 12 years old, I literally thought the world revolved around me. Everyone who existed was only here because of me. And that got in my way in so many ways. I needed to give up my ego. And, what I realized shortly after having someone else in my life, specifically my daughter, is that you're going to have to make sacrifices, but they're not going to be forever. Sacrifices are not forever, and they eventually get easier. So as you start making incremental changes in your decision making, they're hard at first, but they become easier and easier. Sort of like waking up in the morning at 5:30 in the morning for a recruit. Now that you're in your 5th week compared to your 1st week, you don't even think about it no more. Your alarm goes off, you're into the bathroom, and then you're out. You're making the same sacrifice, but now it's just getting easier. So going to sleep a little earlier, you're just kind of getting used to it. And giving up my ego has become just easier for me. I'm just more vulnerable now, and I'm okay with not being the center of attention.
That's just very interesting, and you can accomplish a lot through sacrifices. I remember, Anaya, a year ago, you were just going through this Atolo recruit process, and you accomplished so much, not just through that process, but after it as well. However, we know that behind every great accomplishment, there's a lot of sacrifice that people don't see. What were some of the sacrifices that you made during Atolo recruit?
The night of my final interview was probably one of the most stressful nights of my life. The day before my final interview, I had surgery on my ACL because I had torn it. So I went under the knife and everything. And the next day I had to be at my final interview. And if I hadn't gone, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I had to sacrifice being comfortable at home on my couch with pain meds to go to my final interview. And sacrificing that was really a big decision for me. I debated it for a very long time that day. But when I made the choice to go to my interview, I feel like it was one of the best decisions that I have made. Even before I had gotten to my final interview, I think a really obvious one is sleep. I know everyone going through recruit realizes that normal teenagers don't wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to come to school. But besides that, I honestly, I started liking getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I don't consider that a sacrifice anymore because, like Leo said, sacrifices do get easier. I think it's important to understand that everybody is sacrificing something, even if it's not on the same level that you are. So like behind the scenes, you guys are both working really hard on organizing recruit and organizing things outside of recruit. So what kind of sacrifices do you guys have to make?
Love it. Comfort. I am naturally actually an introvert, as much of an extrovert as you think I am and I appear. It definitely has been a skill that I've developed over time. My natural being is to not be around people and be the center of attention. I am an introvert. I just remember the first day being here in front of students. I was so nervous and so scared. I can't even explain it anymore because I still feel that gut feeling, but it doesn't stop me because it has become easier. Students can sense when you are being genuine and honest, and if you want to be an inspiration, you truly have to be an inspiration. You have to live life every day like you're on fire. If you're talking about hitting the gym and running, you better be running. If you're telling people to study, you better be studying. If you're telling people to take practice tests, you better be taking practice tests. I remember the first time I took after college, took an SAT test just because I was telling my students to take an SAT test. And it was the first time that I realized that I couldn't fake it.
That's great, Leo, and I really, really relate to that in at least 2 levels. The first one is with the language, just the language itself, right? Like before I came here to Atolo on my end of my sophomore year, literally 2 years ago, I was studying English, and then all of a sudden I was here teaching Atolo Code, which is a programming course, and I really had to be clear with my words and have really clear and fast thoughts that I could really inspire and inform the students. So language was the first one for me, something that I was sacrificing my old self, the one that didn't have to language, to one that was not only learning the language but also the culture. You literally have to add to yourself. You sacrifice that space for something better, which I was becoming, someone more cultured in a completely different culture, someone who's dominating another language in the same time. And that was also part of me becoming just extremely diverse. So at one moment, I needed to be really focused on technology and teaching coding and then also programming. Another moment, I had to be talking to different publics. So middle school, high school, college interns, myself, people who are older than me. So you just have to become so much diverse and real, just like you said. You have to become what you say. So when I came here, I see Leo running all the time. I see Jordan running 80 laps around FNM track. Never seen something like that. And I start noticing that you have to become it. You just can't fake it. You really can't fake it. I can't tell someone to do something I haven't done myself, right? So the cold shower. I mentioned this in the other podcast. 2 days ago, Caleb from our current class came to me, said he was doing it as well. He's trying it out. And then the third sacrifice, of course, is just being so far away from home, being able to only go back once a year, if that, and just being able to really add another family to my life. That's what I'm doing. So you have two options by that point. When you're so far away from home, either you get really sad because you're far away, or you realize you also gaining another family, which is the Atolo family. So if there's anything I want you to remember from this podcast, is that sacrifice is a good thing. All winners know this. Also, sacrifice is not forever. Whatever you're going through right now has an expiration date. The third thing is that it gets easier. You develop abilities that you never thought you could have before. People show up to help you and support you once they see your sacrifices. And the fourth and the most important thing is that you should be able, at any moment, to sacrifice what you are for what you will become.